following in Massachusetts. And Chief, I'm not sure if Chief Lewis is still here, but Chief, I want to say thank you for hosting everyone we've met. Your department has been fantastic. So today, I like to move, so I have to learn to stay at the podium, but I'm going to stay here. And interesting, we received a lot of comments last night when we were introducing our social media team, so I just want to give you a little introduction so it'll help you understand us.
And justice is anything but blind. You all know me. I'm not just a cop. I'm a father. I'm a son. And above all, I'm from Boston. Boston accent.
We just thought that was a little comical because everyone says we talk funny, so you'll understand why. So I'm going to start off during the presentation. I'm talking about then and now. So I've been a police officer for 31 years, and when I became a cop, it was all about law and order, random patrols, chasing 911 calls, and telling people, don't ask any questions, we'll tell you what you need to know. And that picture is a picture of someone stopping to ask me a question, and basically the response is, who do you think you are asking us questions? Law enforcement has come so far from 31 years ago where it's so much two-way communications. And what's moved us into where am I now, and where are we as law enforcement? So 15 years I've been the police chief, and we've changed so much. Community engagement, transparency, approachable, and human, being human. And I think some of those photos show where you can actually, before 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we wouldn't be taking photos like that. It's all the different things we do out in the community. And interestingly, the one in the top right-hand corner is me getting ready for this. So that's me at night, my laptop and my two phones, because social media is such demanding. So I just wanted to show where we were and where we have come to. So chiefs, sheriffs, colonels, command staff, who do we have here from those ranks? So those are the guys and ladies that we really need for this buy-in, because the truth of the matter is our people cannot go out and do what we expect them to do unless every single one of us gives them the support. And we look at then and now, and then everything flowed from us. Nobody was able to speak. God forbid someone said something and said something wrong. We controlled all the communications, but the problem was something happened on Friday night. When did the communication come out? Prior to social media. Maybe Monday? Maybe. We didn't tell anybody because we wanted to keep it quiet. What are we seeing now? Most of the time, the communication's out there before we even know about it. I was sitting in my office one day, and I was talking to the superintendent, and a tweet came across that someone got stabbed at the high school. And a student sent the tweet before we even received the 911 call. And I think why turning the communications triangle upside down is important is we as leaders have to allow everyone that works for us to get out there. We need to say, hey, guess what, peeps? It's okay to tweet. It's okay to send some video. It's okay to be on Facebook. Don't worry if you send something out you shouldn't, as long as it isn't obviously intentional. And as my team can tell you, and we are a true team there's things I've sent out afterwards and said, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But you know, we can always go out there and correct it. But I think the important part is if we're not allowing our people to engage instantaneously, everyone else is engaging, and we're doing that chase. And that's what keeps us going. So I really would ask that anyone at the command level, when you go back, please talk to the chief, sheriff, colonel, whoever your leader is, ask them to please allow officers on the streets, communication specialists, to have the authority to send out video and tweets, because we still see a lot of departments around the country that everything still has to go through the PIO or the police chief. So again, back then compared to now, how did we engage with the community 20 years ago? Before cell phones. 1989, I think, was the first cell phones that started popping up in Massachusetts. There was no internet, there was no video games, so where were all the people? The kids, they were outside. So how we engaged with them was we started using original community policing. So we went out, we did business checks, we did walking beats, we rode the bikes. And that was even a change because when I came on 30 years ago, if I got caught outside of my cruiser, God forbid having a cup of coffee with somebody, I was in some deep trouble. What are you doing out of the car talking to those kids? Move them off the corner, rather than getting out in the street and starting to engage people. So we want to talk about today. So what's changed all that? And there's a quick list up there. And really what it comes down to is instant communications. Does anyone believe that there isn't issues happening in your city or in your town or in your state that everybody doesn't know about most of the time before we even know about it? So because everything's instant, we need to start to adapt. And how do we adapt? And we start using, and we talk about community engagement through community policing, but really, how do we communicate? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Pinterest. There's so many systems out there to use, and there may be a ton of other ones out there. I want to ask a question, except for that list, because there's at least 3 more I can think of in my head. Somebody is using something else to engage their community other than that? Anyone? Yes, sir, right there.
Next door.
I'm sorry? Next door, excellent. Same one? How about other than next door? Reddit? Oh, excellent. Ma'am? LinkedIn actually, interestingly, is starting to pop up really popular where everybody had just their regular professional profiles, and now we're seeing the community profiles popping up there. How about Facebook Live? Who's used Twitter Live? Anyone using Periscope? Awesome. So there's so many more systems out there to engage. Now, I don't know whether I asked this as a positive or negative. I'll ask it in the negative. Does anyone here from a department, if you're willing to share, just put your hand up, that you have to have authorization before you put something out on social media? So, absolutely, maybe afterwards or during this week we could sit down and talk. Let me get the contact information of your bosses. I'd love to send them a nice message. No, I'm serious, not to get you in trouble. Saying, hey, we were at the SMILE conference and we really believe you need to communicate. But you know what's funny when we talk about this? We do a lot of these community engagements at school functions, and I've so far yet to meet a superintendent that allows anyone to tell anyone anything outside. In fact, I've met school superintendents who won't let a teacher call 911. So we have become much better than even the educators as getting the word out. But truly serious, if anyone wants me, to send anything to their departments, I'd be more than happy to it, because we don't want to get people in trouble, but we really need to be out there. We really need to be able to engage our community. So, live video. 4 times as many people would rather watch a video. Global video traffic encompasses 82% of the computer internet. And in 2015, 100 million hours of video were watched on Facebook. How many times do we see the video of the cop beating somebody or allegedly doing something wrong, and we as police don't have that video? So we're stuck with just the video that's out there. But even interestingly, having the news on and being in my office and working, and as soon as they say video coming up of this incident, what does everybody do? Heads go up, we love a video. And one of the issues is the smallest attention span. Nobody wants to spend 15 minutes reading an article. We find 4 or 5 minutes is too much. You put out an article of a press release and it's more than 3 paragraphs, no one's even reading the bottom. So we really moved to doing a lot of our press blurbs, giving them 1 minute of a quick video with a link where they can go read the whole press conference, because we really believe the video catches people's attention, and because of everyone's short attention span, it really can deliver the message. But that video message, for that 1 minute you have them, you have to grab them. You really have to put something out that makes them to want to go a little bit further. And really, what's the biggest reason why video? Because people love it, right? Does anyone not love video? The only time they don't like it is when they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing. But other than that, we all love video. And just yesterday, we were walking around taking pictures and video, and it was just second nature to us. It's a better way to engage people. And one of the big things we're dealing with is the transparency issue. So that's why we issue body cams. And we really had no negativity from our department on the issues of the body cams. The only thing they wanted to know was that if they didn't have their hat on or they forgot to shave, would they get in trouble? But what a greater way for communications, because it's all about, we're not hiding anything, the transparency and the engagement. So when an incident happens, we have no issue with putting that body cam video. We might have to blur some faces because of public relations, but when we talk video engagement, we never think of the regular police video, the dash cam video, the video in the body cams. We had dash cams for years and then got rid of them, and you would have to be Jesus Christ to get a copy of our dash cam video when we had it, because you couldn't have it. And today, we're putting it up. As soon as we view it, we're going in, we're blurring out the faces, sometimes taking some of that language that we don't want the public to hear out. Bless you. And then we're putting that video out there. So again, we want to talk about forward progress, sending a message, using public service announcements. But one of the biggest things we saw in our video is we want to tell a story. So we give them the message. We used to talk years ago when I learned how to write a report, paint the picture. So now, really, tell your story is what we really want from video. And here's a little small clip about transparency. And this was a story that came out from students that the press took and misled it. And we were trying to catch up because it got out so fast.
Doug, want to confirm the information so that you get it directly from the police department in the city and not have rumors. Two students at attending school today made certain statements about shooting up the school on Monday. They told students, not to certain students, that they shouldn't come to school on Monday for their own safety. We want to commend the students. Again, we came forward in our See Something, Say Something program and immediately told staff members. We can't say enough about the courage of these students coming forward. The Methuen Police Department conducted an in-depth investigation. As a result of that investigation, 13 and 14-year-old 8th grader were arrested. 13-year-old has been released to his parents. 14-year-old is being held in custody. We want to assure the Methuen residents and our students and staff, based on the information we had, we determined that they didn't actually have the capability of carrying out their threats at this time. There was no weapons found. But we take every single threat serious. We don't care if it's a copycat, if it's a joke, you're just fooling around with your friends. If you make these statements, you are going to get charged. The mere violation of the law is making the statements. We encourage parents, please have conversations with kids. We iterate the importance of See Something, Say Something, and have conversations with kids about if they're thinking about making statements like this, or if there is any concern of themselves, that they are interested in school shootings. If you feel they need some help, come forward to us. We'd be more than happy to help you.
So we did a few different things there. We dispelled a rumor. We thanked the kids who came forward to give them some credit without naming them, so everyone else feels comfortable. And I have my mayor right there, so he got to be on YouTube. And we did the education about we take this stuff serious. So we were able to do multiple things. Anyone notice anything about that still that jumps out at you? The background. What we did was we had to go out and brand ourselves. So everything that we have, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, Twitter, everything's at Methuen Police or Methuen Police. So before we started, again, getting new at the beginning, everything had a different name. It was Methuen Blog Spot. It was the police behind the badge. It was so many different things. We went and branded ourselves, and cheap enough, we just had that background made. And so we'll do a lot of videos with it, a lot of videos without it, but just so everyone sees the brand. So we thought that was important on that slide too. And so what we're able to accomplish, if you get your video out early enough, you can control the message. And there's been many nights I'm watching the 11 o'clock news, and there I am, or there's one of my commanders on TV. We never did the interview. We had an incident, we made our video, we posted it with a link to the story, and I listened to the news media or any of the Boston newspapers write a story the next day with all our copy. So before it was they did anything they wanted. You know what? I think they're a lot like the cops too. We get lazy. So if someone hands it to you, wow, I don't have to do any work, it's right there. And I can't tell you the number of times I have literally been in bed watching the news, and there I am, or one of my commanders, on a message, and we're reaching to everybody without, hey, I need an interview, I need an interview. And there's 3 or 4 hours of your time. We just really increased our manpower hours by doing the video. Instant access to media, I talked about that. Reassuring the public and proving credibility. And I think the transparency and the credibility and the reassurance, when we have major incidences, whether it's a big storm, an ice storm, a flood, or multiple shooting situations, something that needs to be addressed, couple major fires, we get right out there and let everyone know what the real facts are so we can control the message. And this slide here, I think this is such an incredible use of a public service announcement. This is Sergeant John Perrine, he's a state trooper.
Incredible advancements on technology and safety of vehicles. What if I told you there's a feature on every car that's standard? Not only will help prevent crashes, but also help prevent road rage a little bit. Let me show you. So if you look at your steering wheel here, to the left side of your steering wheel, there's this thing that comes out. It's pretty incredible. It's called a turn signal. Let me show you what it does. It's amazing. In front of your car, it starts making a light flash. It indicates that you're going to turn to the left. Not only on the front, let me show you what else it does. On the back of your car, it also flashes a light, indicating that you're going to turn left or make a lane change. Now, it does just the opposite if you push it up. Again, it's right here next to you. You may require that you put down your coffee or your cell phone or whatever you have in your hands so that you can safely drive. And if you push it up, it indicates that you're going to go right. Now, this is not only the right thing to do, it's not only against the law not to use it, but it's the courteous thing to do. And it's going to help people around you understand your indication that you're going to make a lane movement or make a turn. So please, use your turn signal.
Seriously though, wow, right? How about taking some humor there? And before we go, I want to let you know that that's called a blinker in Boston. So we don't have turn signals, we have blinkers. But think of that little message, 14 million views as of last week, 286,000 shares. How many times do you get that much exposure? Every news channel in Boston ran clips of this video. What a great way to engage, and that's where you really have to know that it's okay to have fun. And again, sheriffs, commanders, chiefs, colonels, bureau leaders, whoever's the boss, they need to let us know, and they need to let the people know, hey, it's okay to have fun. It's all right to do something you wouldn't normally do as a police officer. Everyone see the singing videos? You know, Orlando Police does a ton of videos like that, and it really gets everyone going. And then everybody who says, you know, we saw it, and my team brought it to me, and I'm like, oh, how did you not think about this first? It's like, what a great idea, what a great engagement. So again, say it with video, and people will share it, people will love it, and that's a real long video, so it goes longer, but you really only need to see the beginning and grab everyone in. So he used humor, it was something interesting. You really thought he was going to tell you some important safety feature, but did you get the message? And it was a little bit of humor, but you got a great message. Now there's different ways and different things to use for video, and this is one of our earlier videos, and this one is just strictly about highlighting our department. department, but it's actually a partnership with a nonprofit organization, and there's plenty of credit to go around. So we have everyone that helped involved in that. The interesting thing is we launched this video, and again, timing. We were very close to Christmas when we launched it, and what ended up happening was we literally had people bringing truckloads of gifts so we could use them next year that we delivered to the nonprofit. But it wasn't just highlighting us, it was the engagement and the partnership with the community. And one of the things when I see that video every single time I think about is, wow, I felt like a firefighter that day. People loved us. So it was like one of the greatest things. Of course, I wasn't in my recliner having, a steak dinner, but I still felt like a firefighter. So we could show the great work the officers do. And I think in that video, again, it wasn't a traditional video. We took a bunch of stills, we created a video, because everyone's used to seeing the video, let's throw something else out. So we'll mix video with stills. So our team is really talented on doing all this, and quite frankly, my team that's sitting here are the ones who do all the work. I get to stand up and deliver the message, but without them, we absolutely wouldn't have any of the videos or presentations that we do. And what I love about giving these messages, humanizing the badge. And you keep seeing the orange coming up that we need your buy-in. That's for the bosses. PIOs. Who do we have for a PIO? I know we have one. We have multiples, right? Law enforcement PIO or civilian? Law enforcement. And then civilian. Good, so there's a great mix of them all. And really the PIO can really deliver the department to the community and get the message out there. There's another picture. We did the Ice Bucket Challenge, and I just thought it was a great thing because it shows that we are human. We're out there, we're doing something fun. I called out a bunch of chiefs, so everybody did it in our area. It was just a great way to keep people going. Now, when you see this video, pay attention to something and see if you see something specific that would help us identify who's the criminal, or the identity of the criminal. I'm sure everybody saw it, right? His gait, I think it was, does it say 16 hours? Within 16 hours of putting that video out, we were able to identify him based upon his walk. So again, we talk community engagement all the time, but we still, at heart, our law enforcement, we need to solve crimes. So video isn't just about highlighting the community engagement, it's about engaging the community to help us do our job, just like everyone that was saying about next door. Let's engage our community to two-way communications with us. Making a connection with the community.
The people left behind. The people left to pick up the pieces. The grandparents are to take care of their grandchildren, the loved ones. What do? We just try to move on with our friends and our family. And that's why I'm here today, to share my experience. I feel like giving up hope. I really do. But then there's part of me that says, no, I have a little boy. I have family that love me. And so that's the only thing I can share with you tonight. I have no free answers. If I did, my son would be here with me. It just looked like he was getting so close. And what happens is I think, they just get a little sobriety and think maybe one more time. And he had a 70% blockage of his right aorta. He's 29 years old. But ultimately, there were drugs in his body that took my grip.
So again, we're making a connection with the community, but we're letting them tell their story. So it's not always just about us. That's a gentleman who works for the city, and he's our school-wide drug addiction expert. He's a psychologist, and his son died from an overdose addiction. But the interesting part of that video was, not only did it tell a message, but when we put out a video that we were having this little vigil for opioid abuse, So many people came out, it was unbelievable. And then we put the video up of those people who gave us permission to share their message. And currently we have a major organization in our county that grew out of all this engagement, but it all came down to telling the story. We're helping to save lives, helping those in need, and the community speaking to each other. So, we talk to them, they talk to us. How about the community speaking to the community? I think Nextdoor works on that also. But Facebook pages work for our communities, but also having the video. And this next video, this one's probably the best video that we have, and was a video that gave us the most engagement with our community at the beginning of putting out professional videos. And it tells a story not only about Methuen, but about
in the community outreaches at the forefront of our policing. I attended the International Association of Chiefs of Police Convention in Orlando, Florida. I noticed off to the side this pink cruiser was Orlando Police, and the car was dedicated to people who have suffered from breast cancer. We've had several employees of the city of Methuen who have had breast cancer, and I said, we're into community outreach, we're into public engagement. What great way but to engage someone into a conversation than to do something that brought light to our problem. So we had a 2009 Dodge Charger with 189,000 miles that basically was not useful anymore, and it was going to be junked. So in order to set up the car, we looked for sponsors, and A+2 Auto Body of Methuen, Massachusetts came in and said that they would fix the bodywork, paint the car, we picked the color, and they'd get the engine running properly for us. And then we went to Adamson Industries, which is in Haverhill, Massachusetts, and they're a police light bar company. They do radios and lights. And we said to them, we need to strip the car of all the equipment, we need to have it painted, we need to then reinstall all the equipment, which is an expensive proposition, and they agreed to do it for nothing. So overall, we figured $5,000 or $6,000 worth of work was donated to us. When we look at our cruises, they're black and white with gold lettering. So because we're going to go with the pink cancer color, we use subdued lettering, we use subdued patches. Total amount of time it took was approximately 3 weeks. We registered the vehicle at Breast Cancer Awareness Place, which was paid for by the Methuen Police Superior Officers Association. And the next unveiling of this is we have received some hot pink lights that we're going to mount underneath the vehicle. So when we're doing events, particularly at night, it's one more attraction. The more people that come to see it, the more individuals we get to engage with, and the more it gets shared, because most people are taking pictures with it, and then they're sharing it on social media. We talked about a name for the car, because we think it gives it that personal connection to an individual. Officer Gina Scanlon came up with the name Hope. It really speaks to, if you have a life-altering disease, particularly breast cancer, you need hope. And we're hoping that our vehicle out there called Hope brings some hope to people. We take the vehicle to all different events that we do. We've got calls all the way from Maine. Most recently, we were in Lowell. In Methuen, they do a cancer walk, and we had the vehicle there. The line waiting to get to the car was just amazing. The car is the tool to bring you in, and then it's up to us to have that communication with you. But we have been working with the company to create a miniature version, probably a 1 to 32nd scale of hope. Then our goal would be profits raised to be donated to the Susan Coleman Fund of breast cancer. We're always looking for something else that we can do to open the door. We're waiting for a decommissioned vehicle. We're going to do a vehicle awareness. We're really looking at autism awareness, domestic violence awareness, opioid abuse awareness, addiction awareness. Our outreach is just a feedback to the community that, hey, we're listening to what you're saying. We're going to do our best to serve you in the way you want to be served.
And in case you didn't catch it, that's CAH, C-A-H. So really, what does it do for us? It's just about engaging people. It starts the conversation. We raise awareness to any issue, and we're excited to have the awareness card done. Hopefully it'll be done by the end of the summer. And part of that is going to allow people, as we go to events, for any magnet that they have, because everyone's coming up with the magnets for whatever awareness they have, we're going to let them place them on the vehicles, onto that vehicle, and then we'll have the 2 vehicles to go out with. But the video, it received over 25,000 hits just on Facebook. it's creating a connection with others. And what was the cost first benefit, right? It didn't cost us anything. It was an old car. Even if it cost us $5,000 or $6,000 to get it done, it's well worth that conversation starter. And we still take it routinely around location to location, and our school offices take it once a week to every single school in the morning for drop off and in the afternoon for pickup. And literally parents and the kids gather around the car, and it's just another way for us to get information and to show we're humanizing the badge. So we talk about challenges and solutions. So why do we need the buy-in of our bosses? And really, what does it cost us to do this? It's the cost of the equipment, it's the cost of our staff. We have to take into consideration what type of environmental situations we may have that could affect us, including being somewhere where you don't have the ability to connect because Wi-Fi is not working or 3G or 4G isn't done. But truly, can you make it happen or not? You can. It's amazing what the phones can do today. All you need, and we're seeing it all morning here, right? Whether you're shooting video or tweeting, all you need to do is have a phone. It was so different. 10 years ago, we needed a $6,000 camera. Then we had to take the out. We had to drive Lake Howell, get back to the station, load it in a computer, convert the file, and then put it on our website. Like, does anyone go to websites anymore? So we still have our website with all the links to drive us all back, but we drive all our traffic to Facebook. And then from Facebook, we drive all the traffic out to all our other mediums. And I also, we find very, very helpful the YouTube channel. And now that Facebook has Facebook Live, I think it's impacting YouTube, but we still post to all the different sites. But really, with the commitment of even on-duty personnel, it isn't very cost prohibitive to a police department. You just have to do it. You have to stand up as a department, as leaders, and say, we want to talk to our community. We want our community to trust us. And one of the biggest things we found with our openness and transparency was the trust factor. And I had an incident occur where supposedly something happened in our community. And I started getting direct messages on Twitter from all the Boston media. So I returned their calls because I didn't want to put anything in writing. And I called them up, and I was able to dispel their rumors and prevent a story from going that was the wrong story. And the reason was they said to us, we trust you because you say everything else. And I really think that's an important message we really have to get out there, that we can be trusted. And I like my two social media team members who we wouldn't be here today without them. I wouldn't be doing this. Gina and Derek, could you please stand up for a minute? I'd like to give them a round of applause because they are just amazing. And just for the record, I made them what they are today. I'm going to ask everybody if you'd indulge me to stand up, please. That's you too, Kevin. Okay, we're going to do a little pledge, guys. You raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will engage my community through social media with the goal of tolerance and transparency. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will make at least one video message during this week and post it to my community. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will tag this week's posts with hashtag law enforcement social media and hashtag SmileCon. Thank you, guys. And honestly, I got to get out from the podium. I told them earlier I can't stand in one place, but I made it. I was able to do it. A little levity, being human, and seriously, we really appreciate all your attention. It meant a lot. We're here all week. We love to sit down and talk with everyone. And here's what I get when I go everywhere. I learn something everywhere I go. So please, when you see us, tell us stuff that you're doing so we can learn from it. And we can then steal it and make it our own. And if anyone has any questions, I'm not sure how we are with time. We'll take them. Laurie? Question? Chris got a question?
No, I don't have a question.
Questions?
You know, I heard something on the radio once. It was an interview with the Massachusetts driver who said they don't use their turn signals, Chief, because it's nobody's damn business where they're going. There's a Massachusetts driver.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, that's the attitude I used to live there. That's true. Okay, questions for the Chief? Come on. You can't let this guy off the stage that quick. No questions?
Oh, right there, Laurie. Derek. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
How many people on your team?
On our team is my two people, Derek and Gina, right now. And because you asked the first question, you get one of our great social media hats. So things are listening. But our team right now is these two officers who do this for us. However, we have 6 officers trained to use Twitter and Facebook. And remember I told you it's okay to make messages, make mistakes? We had one supervisor who we promoted who put something out that wasn't a mistake. It was an intentional message that was not well received. But you know what it was? Hey, we're sorry, you're done. We shut his account off for the city. So it's okay for people to make mistakes, but these two guys do it all the time. And then me on the couch, that was a real picture. I do that all the time. We're working on training our civilian dispatchers in order to be able to put messages out. But I'd like to talk to people afterwards who are doing that. We're just a little leery about what might come out because we're not used to civilians doing our messaging. Any other questions?
Sorry, did you say that you shut down his account?
We shut down he has a city Twitter account. What we did was we branded all of us. We all have the same brand. Like I'm at Chief Solomon, the sergeants are at sergeant, whatever their names are. The officers are at officer in their name. So you could go through and search it that way. So we made him close that account. And just because what he did was totally inappropriate. But again, things like that happen.
Right. Question over here?
The training materials that you put together and training the officers, I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share that, so we're not kind of reinventing the wheel to find out, how you train your officers and what they should and shouldn't do with social media.
Right there, Laurie Stevens. But Laurie came in and we attended Laurie's fundamentals class. Then we put together a presentation to train our people. If you just see Derek or Gina and anyone, I thought there was a sign-up sheet, but if they want, we'll get it to Laurie and maybe email everyone. We put together a little training where we train the social media officers on kind of the do's and don'ts. But Derek and Gina did that. We're more than happy to share it. We'll share anything because it only helps us spread the word.
You know what we could do is I could create a Dropbox link and anybody wants to share something from the copy, just plop it in there. Then I'll just email everybody the link.
That would be great.
Does that work for everybody? Okay, and how phenomenal, like, you can take your social media team on the road and nobody really knows unless they're watching the stream and nobody's back at the ranch. They're all here running everything. They're doing a great job. So.
But and Laurie has a good point there. So we're not home. A month ago, I'm in a plane. I'm about 30 minutes into the plane, and I'm on their Wi-Fi. I got my laptop and both phones on Wi-Fi. Here pops up a message, plane crash in Methuen. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not there. What am I going to do? Well, I didn't have to be there. 2.5-hour flight. The whole time I was tweeting, Facebooking, I was putting up messages, and I was getting calls, but I put the phone on vibrate, because the calls were coming through on the Wi-Fi. When I landed, I called all the press back. They're like, where are you? Why won't you talk to us? I go, I was in a plane at 36,000 feet. And they're like, I can't believe that. But my team was feeding me stuff that they were putting stuff out. They were feeding me things for me to put out. Then literally I was copying and pasting and putting them out. So you don't have to be there. We could be on the road together and still keep the message going. Could we ever engage the community before being 36,000 miles in the air? Feet in the air? We couldn't. Now we can engage you no matter where we are, as long as we have cell service or Wi-Fi. There was one more question right back there.
One of our concerns with Facebook Live is the quality. Do you have any suggestions on equipment or ways to make sure that the quality of the video is good when it's streaming?
We actually do, and the slides were in here, but we were worried that I talked so much we were going to run over time. So what we'll do is we'll give them to Laurie, put them in the Dropbox. We actually, not only do we go through various, again, it costs some money, but testing some equipment. We also then created a go bag. So each one of the social media offices, including right now, they're using our MiFi card. Our social media offices each have a go bag which has all their supplies. So as soon as we call them, they can just shoot right from their house to a scene and set up and literally be live 5 minutes after they get there. So we'll share all that stuff with Laurie, and Laurie can send it up, put it up in that Dropbox. Well, good. Well,
A quick show of hands, how many of you in this room wish Joe Solomon were your chief? Ready?
what?
I said, be careful what you wish for.
Everybody welcome Neil from the UK.
Welcome, thank you. Good morning. Just one question. You're obviously using lots of platforms and you're having some great success. I've been following the Methuen Twitter stream for a long time now. If you were to strip them all away and for your communication strategy, you could have only one, which would it be?
Well, first, your accent threw me off a little. Can you try for real English, okay? Just kidding. You know what? My answer to you would have been YouTube before Twitter went with Twitter Live. Now I would say Twitter because I can do my posts, I can do my live, and I'll give you a link back to even a blog, and you'll be able to grab the copy. So I would have said YouTube till Twitter went Twitter Live. Now I would say Twitter until the next fad that takes it on. Great question. Thank you.
I couldn't have answered that better myself. That's tremendous.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. The coolest thing about this chief, and not the coolest, there's so many cool things about this chief, but he's one of those rare chiefs that actually shows up for my training and learns himself to do stuff. And now look, I mean, he's one of those success stories that comes out as chief.
And just so you know, I became chief when I was 10.